Okay, hey y'all. So today I'm doing like a story time, I guess. I was actually planning on filming my like acne journey, and I was looking through one of my old phones for some pictures of my acne, and I came across this other picture that I had sent to my mom when I was complaining about my job, and it just like all of the bad memories from this one job came flooding back to me. So I decided today's going to be a story time instead. I did work at, like, I forget what it's even called. It was like the military store. This one also happened to have a warehouse in the back where we shipped clothing. Like, you could order clothing online. You could order your new uniform online, and then we would ship it to you. So that's where I worked. I was one of the people who did the shipping. Like, somebody would get the orders together, and then I would put those orders into a box and tape it up and put a label on it, and then it would get picked up by the mail people at the end of every single day. And that's what we did. The trouble with these people started before my fucking first day. They were so crappy and unorganized, and I've never worked for people who were so much like older than me and like good at their job. Like, these people would talk themselves up. This is my least favorite kind of person. Somebody who talks themselves up all the time about how good they are and how long they've worked somewhere and how hard they work and blah blah blah, but they're actually a piece of shit. Like, they're actually so bad at their job. It's like 80 to 90% of the people who worked at this location, that's how they were, including my manager and his manager, which we will get to that in a second. So I get an email of like my day to show up, like my report date or whatever. Show up and they don't know who I am. And I was like, well, I got this email. Nobody called me. The email said to show up on this day. So here I am. And they were like, oh, literally my manager and his manager were like, the person who ran this entire store, who hired me, was like, oh, like, no, we don't, like, you don't show up until like a few days from now. So I drove in for nothing. So I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, okay, yeah, like, come in a few days and like we'll have all of your stuff ready and whatever. Okay. So I was like, cool, I guess I have a few more days off. So yeah, then I show up a few days later. They have the paperwork there. I still don't have a card. I have no way to clock in. I have like, I don't know if you're supposed to have, I think they did away with this, but like when I worked there, you had like a card where you would swipe and it would clock you in and out. They didn't have one ready for me yet. They didn't have like any uniform or anything like that for me. Nothing. Whatever. I can start working. Whatever. When I tell you that these people were like so unorganized, my manager had absolutely no fucking control over two of the ladies that worked there. Apparently they had worked there for such a long time, and I found out later on that I got a job that one of those ladies wanted, and they were fucking pissed about it. We'll get into that again later. So this guy was such a fucking like pussy, like just a pushover, just a fucking like, ugh, like I'm cussing so much. Okay, I need to stop. These two ladies would basically, who were like beneath him, who were his employees who had to listen to him, would like bully him into doing stuff. It was so freaking weird. So whatever. So this guy was so unorganized, such a freaking wiener, like whatever. I was told by him that I, pack stuff. You know how to pack stuff. Just make sure that you don't like pack it too much or the boxes are gonna bust, whatever. And then like 30 minutes later, one of those two ladies would like wander over to my desk and be like, oh, you need to be like packing this better. Like, you could definitely be packing this way in like a smaller thing and whatever. Shoving things into these tiny flat rate boxes, and then I would tape it up and they'd be like, again, the same person, like in the same day, would be like, you don't need to be putting that in such a small box, it's gonna bust open. Like, this is how it was the whole time. Like, they're just pissed, they want everybody to look shitty, so they're just gonna give you like some directions and then 2 hours later tell you that you're doing it wrong. They're just crappy people and they wanted you to fail from the beginning. So I wasn't the only person who was treated that way. There's one other employee who was too, and she quit like right after me, whatever. My treatment was a little bit different though. We'll get into that. So anyway, so this guy was such a freaking pushover, and I don't not say anything. I'm not that kind of person. So as soon as that happened, like 2 days in a row, I was like, look, you need to like tell everybody the same thing. I'm gonna listen to what you say, and they're trying to boss me around when you're not looking, basically. And he was like, okay, like, I'll handle it, whatever. He talks to these girls, he talks to everybody and tells them this is how we do things. And of course they know that I'm the reason that we're getting this talk, so then they're fucking even more pissed at me, and they're, you know, gonna make my life even worse now. Wonderful. Love that. Living for that. Maybe I'm just a little bit nitpicky. This pisses me off so much. I've had a million jobs. I've had so many jobs because I will get jobs and I'll just quit jobs because I want to do something else, whatever. I have never had a job where a manager will sit there and make your schedule in your breaks, schedule in your lunch, and then tell you that you have to get permission to go to lunch. Absolutely not. Not in a million years. If I'm working an 8-hour shift and you schedule my lunch at a specific time, do I have to ask you permission? It is my legal right to get a break. 2 breaks actually, and it is my legal right to get a lunch as well. And I do not have to ask you permission to do any of those things, especially if you schedule everybody's breaks for them and you schedule everybody's lunch. And in fact, this place had everybody come in 30 minutes like staggered. Then we would take 30-minute lunches staggered. That way, at no time was there even any opportunity for a scheduling clash, because everybody was on the same schedule, everybody worked the same amount of hours, and our like time slots that we came in were already staggered 30 minutes. So your lunches and breaks are already staggered by that exact amount of time. So why on fucking earth? Why on earth would I have to ask you? Would I have to ask permission to take my scheduled break? I'm not going to. So I'm already pissed that these women, and I'm kind of just like glossing over how annoying these bitches were. They were terrible. It was every single day. It was nitpicking. It was, you're doing this wrong. No, you're doing this wrong. Do it this way. Oh, that way's wrong now too. Every single day for like probably 3 months. Oh, I totally forgot something. So, bitch, this is when I get the job that one of those ladies wanted. I got put on, I forget what it's called now, but basically there's like a special orders kind of thing where, what is it called? It's called like tailoring or something, where basically these people would order for their clothes to have already been taken to the tailor. Because if you've ever looked at like a military uniform on their like BDUs, they're not called that anymore, but like the camo looking stuff, they have all of this stuff sewn on. So a lot of people will order all their stuff and it comes loose, and then they take it to the tailor themselves. Well, some people would pay an extra fee so that we would get their order together, take it to the tailor for them, and send it to them everything already sewn on. So that's like a special job, I guess. So I went from just plain shipping to that shipping where I get the special orders with one of these other bitches. So now she was like my boss, or like the person training me to do that, and I was her little helper. And that other bitch wanted that job, but I got it. And she was pissed. She was pissed. So then she really decided that I was gonna hate my fucking life at work every day. And I swear to God, she purposefully messed up my orders. So basically how our system worked was that we would get the orders together, find their name tags, put it all in a box with a label on it, like a separate label to like say their name or whatever. And then we would take their stuff to the tailor, would stay there. And there was sometimes like a point in time where their stuff was sitting there while we get because we would get 80 orders a day. And so while I did number 1 already, I'm doing number 69 or whatever, and she would like go to order number 2 or 3 while it's still sitting in the box and switch out the wrong sizes. So I already know that I did it right with like the large size coat or whatever, and she would come and switch out, take the large out and put in a small. So then his nameplate would, his or her, whoever it was, would get sewn into the wrong size jacket. So then when I would get it back from the tailor, I would double check that it's on the right size, and I'm like, it's on a small. Why did they sew it onto a small? I put a large in the box. So then I look like I'm fucking everything up. Tell me why. Tell me why. I go to the manager of that store. So basically my manager's manager. I go to the manager of this entire location. I tell her every single thing that's happened. I tell her every single time that I have like talked to my manager, and I'm like, there's nothing else that I can do. I'm like literally getting fucked with. Oh, I just remembered something else. This one other lady that worked there, she fucking hated me too, and she was friends with these other two bitches. So on one day of the week, we could only ship out of FedEx. I think. Yeah, it was FedEx and not flat rate or whatever. And this lady came up to me, and I was shipping out of our regular flat rate boxes, and she was like, why are you doing that? Today's the day where we ship out of FedEx. So I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't know. That was the first day I'd heard about that. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll start shipping out of FedEx. So I do like 25 orders all out of FedEx. This is before I had the tailor job. Then somebody else comes in, and they're like, why are you shipping all of these out of FedEx? And I was like, she just told me that this is the day that we ship out of FedEx, and she was like, no, it's not. You have to do all of these orders again. Are you fucking up? I was pissed. So, fast forward back to where I was. I went to the manager of this location, and I was like, this has happened, this has happened, and now this has happened. I switched my job. She hates me. It's so obvious. Like, come on. Like, what are you gonna do about it? I told him so many times all these different problems, and nothing changes. He says he's gonna talk to them. He says something is gonna change, and nothing changes. Like, what is going on? When I tell you that this woman's response was, if you don't like it here, you can get a different job. Come again? Do you want to run that by me one more time? Just think about what you're saying before you say it, and then run that by me one more fucking time. Are you joking? Are you joking? I was like, oh no. No. So then my happy ass, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to HR right now. Bye. Who's my HR person? I gotta talk to him. I left work. I left in the middle of my shift, like I give a fuck, and I went to HR. I walked into the building and I said, I got a complaint right now. I work at this place. Who do I talk to? Because I need to talk to him now time. Oh my God. So I go right into, and I'll tell you this, the HR person was super nice, and the one thing that I would say that's my fault in this whole story is that I didn't go to HR soon enough, because I was already at the point where I was going to quit when I went to HR, which is too late. So he was super nice. He listened to me, and I was like, I don't know who else to go to. And I told him, I was like, I'm here now. This just happened 20 minutes ago. I told him every single thing that happened to me from the beginning. Like, my manager is a piece of crap. Like, I shouldn't have to ask permission to go to scheduled lunches. Whatever, I don't care. Oh, I was pissed. And I was like, and then I go to my manager, and I told him straight up, I was like, I go to my manager, I tell her everything that just happened. She's the next person in line that I'm supposed to be talking to about this mistreatment. It is mistreatment and harassment that I'm being put through. And the first thing out of her mouth to solve my problem, this person who's supposed to be taking care of their employee and talking to their little manager about their bad treatment towards me, this person who's supposed to be protecting me and making sure that my job is like livable, that I don't dread coming into work every day, this person, the first thing out of their mouth was, if you don't like it, leave. And I kid you not, the first thing out of her mouth, I will quote it, bitch. She said, well, if you really don't like working here that much, you can get another job. And I said, I don't know who else to go to. I don't know if you're the next person in line to talk to, but I'm here and I'm complaining to you about it. Tell me who's the next person I could talk to? Who's your boss? I want to talk to them about it, because that is the most ridiculous response to all of the things that I've just been through. Are you freaking kidding me? So he was like, super nice actually, but I can actually help you with this. We're gonna put this complaint in. We're gonna like put everything that you just talked to me about. We're gonna handle this. And I was like, you know what? Good. You know what? Fucking good. Do it. Do it. Email the CEO, because this is ridiculous. I want everybody fucking fired. So anyway, I was like, great. I left feeling super good. I was like, you know what? This is finally gonna get handled, because now she's gonna get a talking to, and then my other manager's gonna get a talking to, and then finally maybe something will freaking change. Okay, so I go to work the next day. This is like, I had a very steady schedule, like Monday through Friday, freaking 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. or whatever it was, 4:30 p.m., whatever an 8-hour shift would be, whatever. The very next day, and it's been like 2 months now that I have not ever asked for permission, and nobody's ever asked for permission, because that's fucking ridiculous. Not a single other employee that I talked to had to ask permission to go to their scheduled lunch. So then I freaking, oh my God, I'm working, I'm minding my own business all morning. I'm getting this picture out because I'm pissed. So, because I'm a good person and I don't want to ruffle any feathers, I actually remember so specifically this day, because I was so pissed that somebody had asked me, one of the ladies had asked me, because she was about to go on a smoke break or some shit. We got up from our desks at the same time, and she was like, oh, that's the other thing. This bitch would always harp on me about my breaks, but she took a fucking smoke break like every 20 minutes. Whatever. We stood up from our desk at the same time, and she's like, oh, are you about to go on a break? And I was like, yeah, I'm about to take my lunch. And I actually left the base to meet my mom for lunch this day. And I come back from my lunch, and my manager wrote this shit on the board. Like, I literally had to walk by this board. There was nothing written on it. And then I come back from my lunch, and there's this written on the board: before you go to break or lunch, you need to let someone know before you go. First of all, terrible English. Secondly, I actually did let somebody know, and it's the bitch that fucking bullies you out of doing your actual job correctly, Mr. Manager guy. So what the fuck are you talking about? So then I go, hey, lady, did you tell the guy that I went to lunch? And she said, no. So I guarantee you, he walked in, saw that I wasn't at my desk, and then said, does anybody know where Lauren went? And that lady went, she just walked out, or just didn't fucking say anything. Even though I did tell her, because she fucking asked me if I was going. I go to HR after work, and I was like, so here's one more thing to add to the list. Because I just was here yesterday. You probably said something to them, and now today they're fucking pissed at me, so they're being big bitches. So, here's one more thing to add to your list. And he was super nice. Yet again, he added it to the list. And yeah, I had worked up quite a few paid sick days. I think I had 4 or 5, to be honest. And I was like, hey, like, or no, it wasn't even paid sick days. It was like paid vacation days. So I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take 5 paid vacation days off next week. So I sure did. And then so I worked like the rest of the week. If I remember right, it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday. So I worked like Thursday, Friday, and then I was off. And I called on Monday, and I was like, hey, like, I gotta take this week off. I have some things going on. Like, I'm just gonna take these 5 days off. Schedule me. Like, I have paid vacation days. I just gotta take this week off. And that following Monday, I kid you not, I called in. It was like 6:30, like almost on the dot, like when I'm supposed to be showing up to clock in for work. And I was like, hey, on the phone to my manager, I'm like, hey, I just gotta let you know I'm not gonna come in today because I quit. I don't want to work there anymore because it's awful. And he was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just do like a no call, no show, and that you got let go. And I was like, sure, whatever, even though I'm calling right now to tell you that I quit. Okay. And he's like, all right, bye. Click. Fucking never went to that job again. Just a freaking mess. Hated every freaking second of it. So that's all I have to say for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this. You know, hindsight, we can laugh about it. It's pretty funny to know that I was going through that, whatever. Yeah, so I have nothing else to say. My Instagram will be down below. If you have any comments you want to make, whatever, if you want to freaking drag me, go for it. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just have a good one. Bye. What? Oh my god. What do you want?